I'm just going to welcome everybody. We're going to start right off with the presentation from John Smith from Book Creator. We're looking at the Book Creator web version. I know many of you use the iPad version and are very well versed in it, but we now have a District Pro license for Book Creator, full license for Book Creator online on the web, which will work with laptops, desktops, iPads, and we've even pushed out 2 versions onto student and staff iPads of Book Creator. So one is going to be that colorful one that you're used to seeing, and the other one's more of a white one, and I will show a picture of that at the end of John's presentation so you can know the difference. So it can be used on the iPad as well, the web version. You are going to love it. I am so excited. It's such a great access tool for our kiddos that we work with. It's that access point that just gives them that oomph when they can do that audio comment or text to speech, speech to text, read to me. All those pieces play beautifully with Book Creator to support our kids. So I'm excited. And we also are looking at creating a whole bunch of templates in Book Creator that we can then share as a group. So we'll have another session with John probably and some of those templates maybe early next year. Right. But welcome. Sit back, relax, and I'm going to pass it over to you, John.
All right, awesome. And Jane, I have some really good news. On March 25th, there is going to be a new thing available to admins, and then anybody the admin wants to have access to it, called Central Libraries. So you will be able to take those templates and put them straight into a central library, and then every teacher in your domain will automatically see those when they log in. It'll be a third category. So it'll be my books shared with me and then central libraries. So going to be super cool. Keep your eye out. March 25th, that should be available.
Cool.
Okay. All right, I am going to share my screen here once I figure out where it's at. There we go. And we are going to start talking a little bit about using Book Creator. We're going to do a full intro of Book Creator. I'm going to show you all of the good stuff that Book Creator has to offer, but we're also going to kind of look at it through an accessibility lens, all right, a little bit. So we're going to talk about accessibility from the lens of basically how Book Creator can empower everybody, all right, to have a voice and be able to document their learning and show what they know in a lot of different ways, all right? And so first off, for those of you that don't know me, my name is John Smith. I always say for real, because people don't believe that my name is John Smith, but it is. My parents apparently had a sense of humor, and it doesn't really give me any grief until I try to order pizza. Then things go south really quickly, right? Because they're just like, John Smith, right, whatever, right? And they don't really believe me. It's even worse when I travel, and I'm like, oh, John Smith wants pizza. Here's an Ohio phone number. And they're like, whatever. So anyway, it does cause me some problems every once in a while, but I still get my pizza. So that's all that really matters. My pizza and my Starbucks. So anyway, I am the iPod teacher on Twitter. So if you are on Twitter or X or whatever it's called nowadays, if you want to give me a follow, great. If you don't want to follow me, that's fine. My wife doesn't follow me either. So I am not going to be offended if you don't. But I'm also johnsmith@bookcreator.com. So if you do have questions or if you need anything, obviously you have a great team in your district, but you can also reach out to me with any questions, or if you need ideas or anything like that. I'm always here. I always say, just think of me as an extension of your team. So always happy to chat about Book Creator and answer questions. Taught special ed for 12 years, mostly 5th and 6th grade. And then I was a tech integration specialist for 7 years, mostly at a high school. And now, after 19 years of teaching, I am in my 6th year as Book Creator's Senior Teacher Success Manager. I was told when they changed my title to senior that it was because it was a promotion, but then I got my first paycheck and I realized that it's because I'm the 4th oldest person in the company. So, whatever, I'll take it. All right. So it's still a really cool title. Lots of webinars, lots of trainings, school visits, conferences, basically anything I can do to help schools utilize their licenses. That's it. Married, I've got 3 kids, 13, 10, and 6. I love golf, so I don't know if there's any golfers here. I only see a couple of you on camera, but maybe some thumbs up or something, emoji somewhere if you're a golfer.
Nope.
Probably going to be a negative. Most people don't. But this usually gets hands raised. Does count. Sabrina, I will take mini golf. All right. It has golf in the title. I'll take it. All right. So the reason, I don't know, like I said, a lot of people don't golf, but that's fine. This usually gets their hands raised though. Does anybody have a dirty car? All right, I know that's a very random question for a book creator webinar, right? Like who has a dirty car? The reason I ask that is because on the side, I am actually a certified auto detailer. All right, so if you have a dirty car and you're anywhere near Ohio, come see me, and I'll be more than happy to clean that dirty ride for you. All right. If it's not dirty yet, it will be by the time you get here, I promise, because my clean car is dirty by the time I get to the end of my street because I don't think they know how to fix roads around here. So anyway. All right, moving along. Before we jump into the getting started part of Book Creator and accessibility, I have two things I want to share with you. The first is this book, and I think a lot of times when we are, told we're going to learn something new, or because we want to learn something new, just because, there's always in the back of our mind this idea of why, right? Like why would I want to learn something new? Why do I want to take time out of my day? Why do I want to fight through a food coma to, like listen to this guy from Ohio with the name John Smith? Well, the reason as why is because Book Creator is amazing. All right. And I'm going to share with you a few pages here. Book Creator really has the opportunity to transform your classroom engagement. Students love it. Teachers love it. I have not gotten many emails from people who don't like it. Book Creator is absolutely amazing. And it really can transform that engagement in your classroom. But I want to talk about the word engagement for a second, all right? Because I think a lot of times, especially the older your students get and older grade levels and things like that, when you hear the words engagement, I think a lot of times people think of the word fun, all right? And engagement can be fun, but engagement doesn't mean fun, right? And if you don't believe me, think about your own personal life, your own professional life, right? There are things that I have to deal with personally and professionally that are not fun. As a matter of fact, they're rather painful, right? And so, but I'm still engaged in it because I need to get to the outcome, or I know what the outcomes are going to be. So I just want you to think about that, all right? Engagement doesn't necessarily mean fun. It can be fun, but it doesn't have to be. The second thing that's really awesome about Book Creator is that Book Creator can be used in any subject. It doesn't matter what you teach. Book Creator is awesome, all right? But a lot of times when you hear the words Book Creator, you think English, language arts, reading, writing, that kind of stuff. Everybody can use Book Creator. And if you're sitting there thinking, well, you know what, I've got a couple people, I don't know if they can, right? Because of what they teach or something like that, let me know. All right, because I pride myself on having an answer for everybody. All right, and I'll be honest, I'm undefeated. All right, nobody has been able to stump me yet, and I don't anticipate that happening. All right, and I just had a school district the other day. A lady showed up at one of our PD in-person PDs, and she was the athletic department secretary. Right, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a challenge. And by the time I was done, I didn't even have to talk to her. She jumped up, ran out of the room, and was like, I've got 10 ideas. I've got 10 ideas, right? So everybody can use Book Creator, all right? Every subject. But not only every subject, every student, all right? And that's part of what we're going to be talking about here today, is that Book Creator doesn't care of what your ability level is, doesn't care about different cultures, doesn't care about any of that stuff, right? It doesn't matter, any of that. It's all possible. Any student, any culture, any ability level, everybody can use Book Creator. And I love the couple examples that we hear. We've got a speech to text, we've got American Sign Language going on in the book inside of a video. Every student can use Book Creator. And I personally have used Book Creator with students as young as 3 and as old as 98 and everywhere in between. All right, so you will be no different. And then the other thing that's really cool about Book Creator is that kids love sharing, right? They love being able to create things and create this amazing content. And with Book Creator, they can do that all here within the confines of school in a safe kind of way and learn how to share and to let other people enjoy their writing. All right. And it's easy. All right. There's literally 2 buttons. So if you're not believing me quite yet, everybody can use Book Creator because there's 2 buttons and that's it. And we'll talk about those 2 buttons, and that really helps make it super easy for everybody. And education is everything to us. Our founder, Dan Amos, there in the middle, his son was diagnosed with dyslexia, severe dyslexia, in his early years of school. And Dan decided that he was going to take it upon himself to try to help. And so he created Book Creator because of his son. And now his son had the ability to read and write about things that he wanted to read and write about. And that really helped transform things for his son and for educators all around the world as of 2011, when Book Creator became available on the iPad, which I know some of you have used. Now, as a total side note, sometimes that causes some, I don't want to say problems, but that causes some issues too, right? Where it's like, we're so used to the iPad app. Now we have the online version, right? This is coming from an Apple distinguished educator, all right? I love iPads. I love apps. But if I had a choice, it's the online version of Book Creator all day, every day, because it is just that much better than the iPad app. All right, and we're going to see some of that here as we go along. Now, the last thing I wanted to share with you before we kind of get into what Book Creator actually does is this video. All right? I'm not going to make you watch this video, but if you ever get a chance, go to YouTube, look up The Myth of Average. It is an amazing video, and it really, to me, hammers home this idea that we're going to be talking about today. And in this video, this guy basically says that as educators, a lot of times we think, right, we've got students down here, we've got students up here, and the only way to really kind of work the class is to kind of focus on the middle, right? Focus on the average. If we hit the average, then we might bring some of these kids up and we'll be fine, right? If we just go towards the average. And to give you the Cliff Notes kind of version, he did a lot of research. And through his research, he actually found that there is no such thing as average. And if we are actually teaching to the average, we are literally teaching to nobody. All right. And I was like, wow, it's like that was like a really powerful, like aha, gut check kind of moment for me, right, as a teacher. And I was like, wow, we're literally teaching to nobody. That's powerful. And what he was saying was, we don't have to teach to average, because with technology, things like Book Creator, we can design our lessons to the edges, and we don't have to focus on just the average, right? And I thought that was really, again, a powerful kind of statement. And then he kind of ends his video by telling a story, and I think this is one of my favorite stories. He talks about a student, and I'm sure you all have a student like this in your class. He called the student Billy. And Billy was a below average reader. All right, so Billy was not reading very well. When he got to science class, he saw a textbook that was above grade level. And so when the teacher asked Billy questions that were in like a little box, right, that he had to answer questions in, Billy appeared, at least on the surface level, to not know anything about science. Well, the truth is, Billy loved science, all right, but because he couldn't read, nobody really understood that. And with technology and the ability to have kids show what they know in any format, right, which we're going to talk about, that is much more powerful. And he kind of ends with a statement. He just says, you know, what if Billy has the cure for cancer in his mind? But we'll never know, because science is first and foremost a reading class, right? And I thought, that's really powerful, right? And I can think of a bunch of students of my own that would fall into that category, right? So if we put the students into boxes, sometimes we're not going to get the responses that we want. But they, in more cases than not, they know more than we think they do, right? So I think that's really important. All right, so let's get back here and let's actually show you a little bit about what Book Creator can do. All right, and then after I show you some of Book Creator's amazing features, then we're going to talk about some extra resources and things like that that I think you're going to really, really enjoy and be able to use with your students. All right, so and again, Jane, you're going to have to remind me, do we sign in with Microsoft? Is that right?
We are a Microsoft district, so staff sign in with their first name dot last name at sd71.bc.ca, and kids sign in with their student number at learn71.ca. They're Microsoft accounts. Yep.
All right, perfect.
Even for NIDES, like NIDES distance kids use their Microsoft account.
Okay, perfect. So this is our website, and I'm going to put it into the chat window. So if you have never signed up for a Book Creator account, this is where you're going to go. However, when you get to this screen and you see this big yellow screen, this is actually the student sign in. All right, so what you're going to want to do is click this blue button that says switch to teacher, and then you're going to have a big blue screen, and that's where you're going to sign in for your account. All right. Click the Microsoft button. It's going to ask you some questions. What do you teach? What grade levels? It's going to ask you to create a library. Just jump through the hoops, get past all of that, and then you will be brought to a screen that looks like this. All right. And in this screen, you will see your library name at the top, and you'll see a line that says you don't have any books. Well, don't worry about that. Plenty of time to make books. All right. And so I actually lied. I'm going to go into the teacher dashboard first. At the top left, if you click those 3 black lines, it will take you to your teacher dashboard. This is where all of your books and libraries are going to live. And with the full version that you have access to 1,000 books each, and you have access to unlimited libraries. So don't be shy. You can make a library for every class. You can make a library for small groups, certain projects. You could, if you really wanted to, even make a library for every student, and then you could use Book Creator like a digital portfolio. All right, so there's a lot of amazing things you can do with unlimited libraries. But again,
and John,
yeah, go ahead.
And these guys are all like learning support teacher folks, so they don't have an enrolling class, but you can be a co teacher with the classroom teacher and share those books with your students and their students. So
yes, absolutely. I love that in the support role, especially because sometimes, again, with new tools, teachers are going to be like, I don't know if I can really do all of this by myself. And it's okay to do a little bit hand holding right at the beginning and say, well, let's work together on this and we'll come up with something. Pretty soon, you're going to find out that teachers don't need a whole lot of that. And they're going to get in here and they're going to start jumping around, right? And they're going to start playing around with this a lot. So yeah, very good. Good to know that. Thank you. And then the next tab across the top is Discover. And this is where you're going to see tons of example resources. I know that you are, as a district, are very focused on the science of reading. And so we also have in these student templates some really awesome literacy resources that are all kind of aligned to the science of reading. So all of these literacy resources are books that you can copy and put right into your own library. So if I click on the prefixes and suffixes book and I click remix, then all I have to do is choose my library, click copy, and now I have a copy of that book in my library that I can then edit. I can assign it to my students. It's really, really cool. All right, now, as we scroll down through this, we have examples by grade level. So again, if you don't believe me that kindergarten kids can make books, here you go. Elementary, middle school, high school, and everything in between. All right, so these are really amazing books written by students. We have books written by our ambassadors. So these are books on a wide range of topics from literacy to elementary, language learners, science notebooks, teacher librarians. Anybody can use Book Creator, and here are some really awesome resources that will give you some extra ammunition and help when you're trying to talk with teachers. Excuse me. Now, the last section is my favorite, and that's books by subject. So right here, you can find, again, tons of ideas for using Book Creator in any subject that you can think of. So you just simply click on it and you'll see books written by students, books written by teachers. There's just a lot of amazing ideas for using books in any subject. And then we also have our certification. So when you click on certification and scroll past my really awful haircut, over here on the left-hand side, you're going to see 18 videos that will walk you through everything that Book Creator can do. I personally use this as a great way to follow up with teachers. So it's like, hey, we did a training. You were excited about Book Creator. Now, if you forget something, you can call me. That's fine. But go watch these videos. They will help you refresh your memory and give you a little deeper understanding. So I love these videos. Watch them. Pass the quiz, you become a Book Creator certified author, you get a cool badge, you get a certificate of completion, all right? But more importantly, you get that deep, deep understanding of Book Creator. All right, so we're gonna go into our library here. All right, there's the book that I copied. It just shows up right there magically in my library. And now I can assign it to the students. But before I assign it to the kids, we have to get the kids into the library. And the way we do that is simply clicking this button that says invite code. A code pops up and you give that to your kids. All right. Every library that you create has its own code. You write it on the board, you put it in, Microsoft Teams, you put it into an email, whatever. You give it to the kids. And when they go to our website and sign in, it's going to say, cool, what's the code? You put the code in, Now the kids can make books. And to be honest, this right here alone is one of the biggest benefits between the iPad app and the online version. I've been there. All right, you got a class set of iPads. Everybody, the little cart. Everybody grabs their iPad, and they go and they grab Book Creator and start making a book. And they're like, "Yes, cool." And iPad number 5 accidentally gets put back into iPad number 7 spot. And then iPad 7 thinks that that's his spot, but it's not. So he puts in number 4, and then pretty soon the entire cart is all janked up, right? And so it happens. But then the next day, the kid thinks he's iPad number 5. He goes and he pulls out what he thinks is number 5, but it's not. It's number 6 because I messed up the whole system. And now the books are gone, right? Nobody knows where the iPads are at and where's the book at and all that kind of stuff. You don't have to worry about any of that because when the kids join your library, they make their books on any device. They can go home and use their mom's computer. They can go to their aunt's house and use their computer. It doesn't matter. They sign in to their account, they start making books, and they all show up right there in your library. All right, and you as the teacher, the owner of the library, can view all of the books. You can edit all of the books. Super cool. So it's not like the old school like 1980s file sharing that we used to have to do with the Book Creator. You don't have to worry about it. All right, super, super easy. Now, once the students are in your library, they can do 3 things. They can read books that are already there. They won't be able to edit them. They can just read the books. They can collaborate on books together if you want them to, and they can make their own books. All right, and so we're going to focus on making our own books today. And the very first thing they're going to be able to do is click this button that says New Book. We've got blank books. We've got comic books. If you work with students who are above middle school, high school kids, sometimes when they click on the blank book and that's what they see, they're kind of like, that's it? Like, is that all there is to Book Creator? And the answer is, yeah, like that's it, right? It's easy. But sometimes older students, teachers who teach older students can't get past how easy that looks. And so I would like to show you this in the New Book button. Under templates, we have some amazing template designs and layouts. And the reason I love these is because it really shows you how powerful Book Creator can be, even though there's 2 buttons, right? Like that's it. So you can see these amazing templates. Everything can be changed. You can change colors. You can change sizes, fonts. You can get rid of this camel if you don't want the camel, right? You can get whatever you want. Make the books your own. And as you scroll through it, even more beautiful page designs and layouts, right? So I absolutely do. I love the templates. All right, we're going to get rid of these books now. Now, a new feature that we just added, which is also really important, is that sometimes as a teacher, maybe you don't want the kids to create their own books right away. Maybe you have a template, all right? And I know Jane was talking about this. We're going to have some really cool templates for students coming up. So maybe I have this template right here in my library, and I want my students to be able to have their own copy of that template. All right, and now we've made it even easier for that to happen. So all you have to do, create your template, click the share button and say assign book. And that's it. Start the assignment, and then any student that is in your library will automatically get a copy of that book that they can edit. All right, so super simple, happens just like that. If you have a student that shows up 2 weeks from now, as soon as they join your library, they get the copy too. All right, so again, very, very easy to handle. All right, so we're going to go into our little playground book here, and we're going to show you all of the cool bells and whistles that Book Creator has to offer. Now, I told you it's easy. 2 buttons. I'm not lying. Right here at the top, the plus button allows you to add stuff to the book. The I button right next to it, or the inspector, allows you to change things, colors, fonts, sizes, that kind of stuff. I was in Colorado not too long ago, and the 2nd graders called the I button the improvement button, which I think is an improvement over calling it the inspector button, right? So I love that phrase. All right, so plus button. What can we put into a book? Well, we can put media, shapes, more, and down here at the bottom, we have comics. So I'm going to start with shapes. All right, in our shapes tool, we've got some really cool shapes. You just click on one, it adds it to the page. You can move it around, you can resize it, you can rotate it. some of the shapes allow you to type inside of them. And so now it's not just a shape that you can make a house or a car out of. Now it's a shape that I can use as a graphic organizer, a timeline, a mind map. Um, Maybe I have a diagram of a volcano on the page and I want the kids to label the parts of a volcano. You can do that, all right? And if you click the inspector, you can even change the colors, the shadows, the border, and if you did type in there, you can change the text. All right, so again, really powerful features in the Shapes tool. But there's something hidden in the Shapes tool which is even more powerful, and that is this search bar. And I love the search bar because it allows students to type or speak the things that they want to search for. All right, so there was a helicopter running or flying around outside today for some reason. I think it was probably chasing a criminal. I'm not real sure, but I'm going to hit helicopter. I'm going to click search and look at this. All of these really cool helicopter icons start popping up. All right, and it looked kind of like this one here, except there was a dude hanging off the side of it looking for somebody. All right, so there we go. So really cool. All right, so an easy way for students to make their pages look better. These icons are also great for vocabulary instruction. And there are 2 to 3 million icons in that search bar. And I had to search for random stuff. I always get a result, except when I search for Shakespeare. I typed in Shakespeare one day, came back with no results. I'm not sure why, but actually I do know why, because 3 days later I found out the reason it didn't show up is because I spelled Shakespeare wrong. All right, so if you spell Shakespeare the right way, it'll show up. All right, so you can get stuff in there for anything. Plus button, media. We're going to talk about media because this is where the bulk of the good stuff exists here within Book Creator. And the very first option is an image search. So we have an image search that is built right in. Your kids do not have to go out to the Googs and find anything if they don't want to. They can, but they don't have to because we have this beautiful image search right here. So again, I can type in what I want or use the microphone, hit search. All of these beautiful images start to pop up. All right, and these images, they are free to use, they are free to modify, and they are safe. They come from Pixabay. And not only are they free to use, modify, and safe, they are also gorgeous. All right, these are beautiful images. These are not the grainy thumbnails that your kids like to drag into presentations that look like garbage, right? These are really nice images. And I saw some smiles, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so these are really nice. And not only that, you can resize them and move them around, but you can also click the inspector. You can add attribution information to the image, hyperlink it to a website or a page in the book, and even add alternative text. So if I said something like red car in the fall leaves, then when somebody with visual impairments goes to read the book, they'll click the play button and it will read the text, play the audio, play the video, and even say, image, red car in the fall leaves. Okay, great question. Is Book Creator planning to be available on iPhones? All right, now I'm going to give you my stock answer. But before I give you my stock answer, I'm going to say that I understand where you're coming from with this, and I am not in charge. All right, so here's my response. I don't see us having it available on iPhones anytime soon for editing purposes. Okay. Yes, if you share a link with somebody, they can view your book on any internet connected device. But for editing purposes, trying to make a book on this is very difficult as opposed to using it on a laptop, all right, or on a Chromebook or even on a bigger iPad, all right. Do I understand that a lot of older students especially live on their phones and probably would prefer to use their phone over a laptop? I do. I understand that. I just think in the grand scheme of things, the experience is better. And I think that's why we haven't really pursued playing around with the ability to edit on a device. Yeah, I do agree. It would be easy to create social stories with your phones and the photos that are on the camera roll. 100%. Couldn't agree with you more. But you can't use it on your phone through the browser even because of size requirements. And sometimes and I don't know if this will work, but if I try to like shrink the screen, you'll see it gets a message that says enlarge the browser. We have those requirements because we want the screen to be big enough that you can enjoy the experience. But I 100% agree with you on this one, Delia, and I do think there's a possibility that there could be like even a subset of Book Creator where it's just like you create little social stories on your phones and then maybe upload them later, right, to your device or to your laptop. So I'll take that idea to our engineering department. The more they hear it, the more likely something is to happen. So I will definitely pass that along. But I totally understand where teachers come from and where kids come from who want that. All right, plus button, media. The next one down is the camera. Now the camera is one of my favorites, and I just don't think we use it enough. Funny that we're just talking about phones, and I think that we don't use the camera enough. We do have the ability to take a still picture or to record video. Recording video is my favorite. Gives us a little countdown. Hey, Mr. Smith, in class you were talking about angles, and I could care less until I got home and saw a 90-degree angle right there between the ceiling and the wall. All right. And so what I love about this is it allows the kids to take whatever they learned in school and find it right somewhere in the real world. And so I just think that's really powerful, and it gives the kids an opportunity to do things like finding math problems, interviewing somebody. My daughter did a Black History report here recently, and we have a living legend just 20 minutes down the street, and she was able to go interview her, right, which I thought was really powerful, and we were able to put that into video. So anyway, I think that's really cool. Now, it does take a few seconds for that video to get there. Once it's there, you can click on it, resize it, move it around, rotate it, not rotate it, sorry, move it around, put it exactly where you want it to be. And then you can even click the inspector and do a little bit more with that video, including adding captions. And I think this is very powerful because captions have actually been proven to improve reading proficiency. So if you have kids who are watching videos anyway, you might as well turn on the captions because there's a chance it's going to help them get better at reading. All right. And I have to tell you, I know this from experience because I'm not a great reader. All right. And something happened 13 years ago that changed me in my reading. And that was when I had a child, all right, for the very first time. And it changed me because as soon as I had children, everything that I like to watch became off limits. And so I have literally watched every single show by reading it for the last 13 years. And you know what's happened to my reading ability? It's gone straight up, right? Like, yeah, there was a day in the past where reading something like this would have freaked me out. Not now. Like, I've gotten so much better. All right, so I love this. And not only that, you can also do captions in multiple languages. All right, so whatever you record the caption, or I'm sorry, whatever language the video is in. So if this video was in French, I choose French from the dropdown, and I have French captions. If the video is in English, I choose English, I have English captions. Or I have English video, I enter my captions manually, and now I can type in my captions in another language. And now I have English video, Spanish subtitles, and now my videos are starting to look like Netflix. All right, so really, really cool. All right, so there's a lot that you can do with these videos. All right, plus button, media, the pen tool. All right, now the pen tool is a mic drop moment. I only see Sabrina and Jane on the screen right now, so you have to promise me if you're not on the screen that you're in a seat. All right, because this is one of those things you're going to be so excited. I don't need anybody passing out and like falling over a chair. All right. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're like, it's a pen, dude, calm down. All right, well, check this out. When you click the pen, there are awesome colors. Guarantee your kids are going to go down here to the magic ink because they're amazing. But there's also these really cool pens, markers, brushes, crayons, highlighters, normal pens that do normal pen type things. All right, but my favorite pen of all is this one right here, and that is the Auto Pen. And the reason I love the Auto Pen is because it is an excuse killer. All right. If you teach above 5th grade, you know exactly what I'm talking about. When you ask a kid to draw, they will say things like, I can't draw, I'm not an artist, I hate the trackpad, get out of my face. All right. I teach a graduate class to teachers. And you know what they say when I ask them to draw, which I do frequently? The exact same thing, because y'all are just as bad as the kids, right? And so I'm going to show you my favorite, which is the auto draw. And the reason I love it is because I'm a terrible artist myself. So I'm going to draw for you a bike. All right, now this is hideous. Nobody's going to want to ride this bike to the park. All right, but at the top of the screen, the auto draw is trying to figure out what it is. Is it a basketball? I sure hope not. Is it a pair of glasses? Maybe, if I got hit in the face with a basketball, right? What is it? Ooh, it's a bike. And I see all of these really cool bikes. I'm going to go with the motorcycle. I click on it and it fixes my drawing, and it now actually makes it look like something that I would ride to the park. All right, so this is super cool. And your students and teachers are going to love it. All right, I promise. Okay. Oh, Jane, I love that translation of captions is great for L kiddos, absolutely, and families. And guess what? I'm gonna throw another mic drop moment down here for you too. This is a hot button topic, especially with foreign language teachers, but the possibilities are endless. Coming soon, like hopefully by the end of the school year, you will have the ability for full book translation. So you'll be able to create a book in English, click a button at the top, and it will translate the entire book into Spanish or French or Swahili or whatever you want it to translate into. All right, which is going to be amazing. And then coming soon after that, not only will it do full book translations for text, but it will also do full book translations for video and audio. So that's coming soon. It's going to be amazing. So keep your eye out for that. All right, plus button, media, text. It's a book. We've only got like 20 minutes left, and I haven't even said anything about words yet. All right, so when you click on text, you choose a style, and a text box pops up. You can type your text in there. You can copy and paste text in there if you want, or my personal favorite, the microphone, which my students called writing with your face, which I thought was fantastic. All right, and you can do writing with your face in 120 different languages. All right, so super, super cool. And it works like this. Click the microphone and start speaking in the language that you chose from the drop down. That's it. All right, I love Siri. When I talk to her, she thinks I have a mouthful of marshmallows. When I talk to Book Creator, it just gets it. All right, which I think is really awesome. Oh, good question. Will it be possible to turn any of those options off? I might not want language students to be auto-generating. Yes, I do think, and I cannot be, I'm not 100% sure of this, but my understanding is that the full book translation will be a teacher option, that it is not going to be the students being like doink and changing something for their Spanish homework, okay? I believe that it is only going to be a teacher option at first. If it is a student option as well, I'm almost 100% sure that we'll put a little toggle in the library settings so that you can turn that off if you don't want your students to do it. All right. Yeah, 100% accurate, right? Love it. It really works well with other languages as too. You can add accent marks in there as well. All right, and yes, there are even accent marks, right? There's the accent mark button, and we even have math symbols. So Jane, you know when you've been on enough webinars with me that you can anticipate what I'm about to say and just put it in the chat window right before I even say it. So I like it. It's perfect. It's like tag team back again. All right, so anyway, we're gonna hit done. There's my text, and I can click the inspector, and I can change the size, the colors, the fonts, pretty much anything you want to fix right there so that your text pops. Okay. Can you add French accent marks while you're in English? I think so. So I don't know what the French accent marks are, but if I go to the accent marks here and I say, yep, that one's French, there it is. So I have English text and it's not French. I think that's the Spanish, whatever. I can add that in there. All right. So very cool. That's good. I took 4 years of Spanish and I still don't remember anything other than where is the bathroom. So that's all that's important. All right, excellent. So plus button, media. The next one down is the record button. And personally, this is one of my favorites, especially in foreign language classrooms, because I can literally record my voice. It gives you the countdown. My name is John Smith, and I love washing cars. Use recording, and there it is. Now I can change that. I can move it around. I can resize it. Really, really awesome. And yes, Jane, let me bring back my text. Is there open dyslexic? 100%. So when you click on your text and you click the inspector, one of the fonts that we have is open dyslexic, which is super, super awesome. And we also have another font called Lexend, which is super cool because Lexend, even though it doesn't look like much to me, has been scientifically proven to improve reading proficiency. So why not, right? Might as well use it. All right, so again, like I said, the record button, very powerful because you can record your voice, you can record sound effects, music in the background. I've got kids using the record button to do their own podcasting inside of Book Creator. Endless possibilities. Speaking of recording, I know that reading fluency is a big thing in your district as well, as it is probably everywhere. So I want to show you something that I absolutely love in hopes that there are no copyright police in the audience today. I'm going to assume that there's not. If there are, I'm just going to deny everything that I showed you, even though there's a recording of it. All right, this is my daughter's library. She is in first grade this year, and she comes home every week with a little decodable reader, all right, that she has to read. So she reads the same decodable reader all week. She gets rid of it. We get a new one the next week, and we read it, and we read it, and we read it, and we keep going. Well, I decided to put those decodable readers into Book Creator. And so now I have those decodable readers here. My daughter decided to step up the game a little bit, put some fun Giphies in there, but she also recorded her voice. And so here we go. Hopefully you can hear this. All right, maybe you can't hear that. I couldn't
No,
tell.
can't hear it.
Oh, bummer. All right, anyway, she said Jack the cat in her cute first grade squeaky voice. All right, and so what's really cool is that my daughter is now practicing her reading fluency. All right, as she's reading these and recording her voice, she can hear her voice. She can hear where mistakes are. She can hear her fluency. And now I have reading fluency for every book from the beginning of the school year. All right, and I think this is very powerful. And as a former teacher, my wife is a teacher also. If a teacher comes to me and tells me about reading fluency, I have a general understanding, right, of what is going on. But if a teacher came to a parent who doesn't know what is going on, and the teacher says, your kid went from a 7 to a 12, what does that mean? Right? What does that mean? People don't know. Now I can hear it. All right. Now, Genevieve, I asked if there was any copyright police in the house, and everybody said no. And then you asked me that question. So here's the answer. All right. I remember somebody in college telling me that if you're a teacher and you are using Book Creator or you are using materials not to make money and not to like whatever, then basically there's like you can copy whatever you want. I don't know how true that is. Like I said, I'm not a copyright police. I would definitely chat with your district first and make sure that it's okay. In my daughter's district, these resources are purchased. We have the paid version, we have the online versions. They encourage parents to download these things. So to me, it's not really that much different than what they're telling us. I just put some extra stuff on it and kind of messed around with it. But I would definitely encourage you to take a look at the district's policies on that and don't do anything that's going to get you in trouble. All right. Yeah. Not sharing them publicly on the web. I'm just sending this to parent, right? Like, oh, hey, you know what? Here's Jane's work. Send it to Jane's parents and say, listen, how cool is that? Great, right? I'm not putting this at like teachers pay teachers. I'm not trying to make money off of this. I'm just saying, here's what I did to help my daughter. Okay. Yeah, awesome. All right. So now moving right along. We're going to go back into our library here. Whoops, that's not you. Hold on a second. Click the wrong one. There we go. All right. And so then we're going to keep talking. Plus button, media. The next one down is comics. All right. So we do have our comic features. So you can simply click on a comic panel. You can add inside of that by clicking the plus button and add an image from the web, the camera, files on your computer or drive. Take a picture. Click use, and that picture gets added right there inside the panel. And if your fingers are in the wrong spot, you can click the little arrows and you can kind of move them sideways and get them exactly where you want them to be. Now, comics are great. Most adults would argue with me on that one. Most adults don't like comics, but you know, here's the thing. I don't really care. It's not about you, right? It's about the kids, and kids love comics. but they're amazing for stories. They're amazing for step-by-step directions. They're amazing for things like dialogue when you add the speech bubbles in there. They're amazing for thought processes and aha moments. And I even have kids using comic panels as a storyboarding tool for a video project that they're doing, right? Or storyboarding for podcasting, whatever. There's a lot of possibilities with a simple podcast or with a simple comic book. All right, so I love the comic features. Plus button, there's really two other things that I want to share, excuse me, with you before I share what I believe is the most powerful feature of all. And that is first, the more button. When you click on more the very first time, you're going to see files and embed, which means you can bring in files from your computer, put those straight into a book, and you can embed content from pretty much anywhere, right? Like YouTube, Vimeo, Soundtrap, Desmos calculators. As long as you have an embed code, you can embed it right there into the book. But there are teachers who still want more, all right? And if you click more and click add apps, there are 9 additional apps that you can add into your book creator experience if you want. They are all turned off by default, so you do not need to use them. And if you do use them, please be cautious because each one has its own privacy information. So for example, Giphy, nobody under 13. That pretty much cuts out everybody younger than 8th grade. All right, so you got to be careful with these. But if it does fit your group, click turn it on and choose the libraries that you want it to go in. If it doesn't fit your age group, leave these blank, hit done, and then you can use it as the teacher, but the students cannot. All right, so you can play around with it, decide which ones you want to turn on, and when you go to the plus button and more, all of the ones that you turned on will be right there. All right, I want to show you one specific that I absolutely love, and that is graphic organizers. We have 104 graphic organizers that are already built right in. And all you have to do is click on the graphic organizer you like, click add, and it's going to add that graphic organizer right to the page. You can go in, your students can go in, they can start answering questions, which is really cool. But what I like most about these is nowhere in the rule book of life do I remember anybody ever saying that a graphic organizer has to be only text. It doesn't, because if I want to go back and click the record button and start my recording, I can add that on top. My hypothesis is that the more expensive golf balls are going to perform better than less expensive golf balls. I hit stop, use recording, and look, I can put that hypothesis right there on top of it. So you can really allow your students the opportunity to kind of really express themselves, right? Golf balls, why was that in there? My son, he was just doing science fair. He did his science fair project on the exact same thing I just said, and he got a superior rating. He's actually going to state, which is really cool. So, all right, so I love these. And yes, absolutely, Jane, 100%. I have seen this question pop up multiple times. Do we have the graphic organizers in other languages? And the answer is no, we do not. So if you do make these in different languages and want to share those with us, that would be fantastic. Maybe we can even put them into the graphic organizer category at some point. Yeah. All right. Yes, 100%. Right. Kids will they'll yak at you all you want. You tell them to write, and they become paralyzed. Right. They're just like full stop. I don't know where to go. All right. So this is very powerful. I always say, I believe Book Creator is almost self-differentiating, meaning that your kids are going to go in here and they're going to find the tools that they are successful with, and then you can build on the things that they're not successful with, right? A lot of times for writing, I like going video first, have the kids record themselves on video, put it on the page, and as they go back and listen to their video, they type it out. And if they find things that they forgot to say, they can add that in as text. If they find things that they didn't want to say, they can take that out and when they write their text. So I really love, just thinking outside the box a little bit with that kind of stuff. And the last thing I want to share with you here is down at the very bottom, there is a plus button inside of a speech bubble, and that allows you to add comments and feedback on your student work. So you can type in your comments and click post. Your kids will see it. They can give an emoji reaction. They can reply back if you want. But in true book creator fashion, it is not enough. Not only can you add comments as text, you can add them as video, audio, emojis, giffies, animated emojis, and stickers, because nothing says fix your garbage writing better than a smiling poo over on the side of the page. All right. You post that right there, your kids will fix everything that's on the page. You don't even have to tell them what went wrong, right? They'll fix it right away. But in all seriousness, I love the video and audio the most because it helps students who cannot read or cannot understand the text that you wrote. But it also helps teachers because it saves you time. Instead of writing out 150 comments, you just hit the record button. You speak your comment, you're done with it, right? You move on, which I think is very powerful. Tennessee Schools for the Deaf, they actually used a video button to put American Sign Language over in the commenting sides. So very, very cool. And yes,
I've even used it with our kids who use talkers, voice output communication aids, especially on the iPad. And if you open it up on the iPad version, to copy and paste their message window from LAMP or Touch Chat, and then paste it into Book Creator, or even play their message window and record their message window talking, so they can even create books that way. So
that's super cool. Yeah, absolutely. And yes, if you remix the graphic organizers, you just translate them. Yeah, you remix it, change the text here from scientific method to whatever that says in French, and you're good to go, right? So very, very powerful. All right, now, in the last couple minutes, I want to share with you what I believe is the most important button of all, and it will take any questions. I do have a hard stop at 4:45. My daughter has an art show tonight, so I got to get down the street.
You've muted, John.
There we go. Sorry, I got
Okay.
muted. Jane's telling me it's time to go. I understand. All right, wow. No, I'm teasing. All right, so right here, let's say that the student work is done. All right, my kids would say to me, I'm done. I'm like, okay, cool. And I look at it and it's like, are you sure that you're done? And the kids are like, yep. And I'm like, do you want to edit this? They're like, no. Like, do you want your friends to edit this? And they're like, no, I'm good. I'm like, all right. Well, I'm going to take your garbage writing and I'm going to publish it online for the entire world to see. And as soon as I said that, everything changed. Quality of work went up, student engagement went up. They started editing a whole bunch of stuff. Why? Because somebody other than me, their old fuddy-duddy teacher, was now able to view their work. And that is huge. All right. So you can make the books private or public. You can allow people to copy your books or not. And when you publish your book and you share that online with parents, community members, Facebook, Twitter, school website, whatever fits within your district privacy policies, and people start to read your books, you get analytics and you can see how many times your book has been read, what countries your book has been read in. And I'm telling you right now, there is nothing more engaging to those kids, especially the ones who didn't want to be there, than telling them that their book has been read 99 times in 17 different countries. You will see your students change right before your eyes. I promise. I lied. I have one more thing. Actually, I have two more things. In the Discover section, there is a kindergarten book that I want to show you called Little Emma. And the reason I want to show you this book is because Little Emma has been read almost 24,000 times. This child is excited about reading and writing and making books. All right. And your kids will be the same. And then the last thing I want to share, and I'm going to turn it back over to Jane here. How did I do? Is anybody excited? Does anybody just want me to leave? If you do, just scan the QR. No, if you're excited, scan the QR code. If you want me to leave, don't scan the QR code. Just avoid the evaluation. But no, Phil, I would love to get a quick evaluation. Let me know, how you feel, what's going on. Are you excited? That kind of stuff. Tell me about it. Just by that, I'll leave this up here for a second while we kind of close things out. But I just want to say I appreciate you all being here. Be safe out there. Happy bookmaking. And Jane, I'm going to turn it back over to you as we close things out. But thanks for having me.
John, thank you so much. I know I'm excited, and every time I listen to you, I get more ideas, so I'm scrolling away like mad. Those of you out there, if you need a hand, of course, I'm happy to help. John is available by email. Kara and Shannon know this stuff too. So if you need a hand, let us know. If you want to collaborate on creating templates, Genevieve, Sandra, Kate, if you want to make French stuff, I'm there to help you out. So let me know how I can help you explore this and play. But John, thank you so much. You're really helping push Book Creator and getting it launched in our district, and I'm so appreciative of that. We might ask you back for another accessibility number 2, but we also have your advanced session coming up after school on April 8th from 3:30 to 4:30. So I think there's actually different stuff than you showed today in that advanced one. So if you want to join that, please feel free to join that. Sign up through Kara's Tuesday Tech Tip or our Kara and Jane and Shannon's Tuesday Tech Tips. That's the link to that. But John, thank you so much. Have fun with your daughter's art show.
I will. And I did want to say too that if you are going to come to the more advanced session, I always laugh because like there's not a whole lot of like more advanced in Book Creator. I mean, like what you saw is a lot of what you get. I will show you some cool new tips and tricks and things that you haven't seen yet. But if you do come back for another session, I would highly recommend coming with questions. So as you play with Book Creator over the next couple of weeks, things are going to pop into your head. Come back, ask me those questions, and I'll be happy to answer those. And yes, play with it over spring break. Get in there, just have fun with it. You're gonna love it. It's not gonna take you 3 weeks to figure this out. You're gonna be running with this before you know it.
And those reading templates, those literacy templates are amazing, you guys. Those are so worth checking out. I'll send you the link when I send the recording to where you find those, because I know you guys are doing that stuff already, but these templates exist and they're there for you already. So thank you.
All right.
Thanks, John.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Wow. That's a lot of stuff, but he's so good. I'm just going to share one screen here, and then I think we'll do a little stretch break before Joan comes in to share, but let me just share one screen. 2 seconds, bear with me here. Can you guys see my Book Creator page? Maybe just somebody unmute because I can't actually see the screen anymore. Yeah, okay, good. This just explains, so on the iPads, you're gonna have the regular iPad app that's gonna look like that colorful one we're used to. For the web clip version on the iPad, it'll be that like white colored app. So if you're looking for the difference, those are the differences on the iPads. And now everybody district-wide has the iPad app and the web clip app on the iPads, and everybody has access to the web version